Add to the stage, add to the stage. I gotta get this other thing off. Hold on so you can see our beautiful faces. Why isn't this oh yes. Oh, there it is. Hey, how y'all doing?
It's been that long, Sam.
It's been that long. I forgot how to work it.
I mean,
ladies and gentlemen, welcome back Talk of Champions is back in the building for episode number 2 of Who Killed WCW. I am.
Do you know that these episodes have titles?
What are they called?
First one was Where the Big Boys Play. This one is The Streak is Over. And tonight's episode, the episode that I'm excited about, is called The New Blood.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so take it away. Where are we starting?
We're starting by sharing everything because you know
we lit.
you share to your Twitters and your Facebooks and things.
You were doing that. We're doing that. We're good.
Okay. So this is the second episode in the Who Killed WCW series. Last week we covered the first, and then this week they said, "Here's where we piss you off." You thought you was hot last week. We got your hot. Insert Goldberg.
Insert Goldberg.
Insert Goldberg. I want a little light banter so we get a chance to gather people, gather comments, gather whoever's joining us. Thank you for the people that are here with us. Say what's up. Let us know. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. Don't thumbs down because I'm a yell. No.
Now that you said it, they're gonna do it.
I should never talk.
Beautiful. Yes. Talk of Champions. We're here talking about WCW and the second episode. Where are we gonna start?
In a second.
Yes. How y'all doing? By the way, y'all could drop in.
Overall, how do you like the series? Quick banter.
I love the series, man. Like honestly, I just am kind of confused as to why.
Someone liked that video. Sorry.
See, that's what. Go ahead and finish what you're doing, because every time you tell me to talk, then you interrupt.
No, I'm sorry. How do you like?
Then you gotta keep going. So finish doing what you gotta do.
I'm done. But how do you like the series overall, Stan?
It was cool. I like the series overall. I love the series overall. I like how they present everything. I like the Dark Side of the Ring and how they, produce these things anyway. So yeah, I'm here with it.
I don't know why, but anyhow, I don't know why everything's taking slow when I want it to go fast, but when I want it to go slow, it's going fast. So tonight's episode, we start with a recap from previous weeks. They talk about, the rise of WCW, and then now we're leading to the fall, and my notes are not open because I'm still sharing. Oh, shit. There we go. Sorry, I'm like...
What's good, Kyle?
Hi, Kyle. Thank you for joining us. Hi.
How you feeling? We still gotta get that drink or two.
Here we go. I don't know why it's taking so long. Anyhow, I'm gonna just share it one place, and then that's all that matters.
Yeah, we're already live.
All right, boom. Open my notes. And now I'm hot and now I'm shiny because the fan is so loud. But
this is awesome.
Yes, I know, right? The last show was so organized, and now that we got people from the beginning, it's just like, and I'm fucking up.
We was fucking up last week too.
Well, last week it was technical difficulties.
Jeez, we was like a whole hour late last week. Now we on time. It's like, ooh.
So let's start with the recap of the episode. Eric Bischoff, he states by 97, WCW had so much goodwill with the audience as a result of the NWO. They said they were absolutely on fire. They talk about the 83 weeks. I'm so tired of hearing about 83 weeks. Then he starts by saying he gets a phone call from Harvey Schiller, which at the time was the president of Turner Sports, and by proxy WCW. They are excited about the success of Nitro, and they want to start Thunder. Kevin Sullivan talks about they weren't happy enough with the ratings that they wanted to expand, not realizing that it was going to weaken their Monday show. Eric Bischoff said things was going so well with Nitro that the idea of doing another live show 48 hours after he finished producing one, he thought it was never going to work. He didn't want to be the guy to tell Turner no. He said that TBS said, sure, we'll take the show, but this is not in our budget. So they were producing Thunder out of WCW's budget. They weren't paid to produce this show. He said, well, that's what Ted wanted, apparently. They also said, like he said, it was a challenge right off the bat because it was audience fatigue. He said it was audience fatigue because now they're seeing too much of the same talent. He said he thought that. Go ahead.
No, I was flexing for Kyle. He said he looked good.
He said that WCW had a very deep roster, but if another show was going to be added, he needed a roster that was substantially unique, and that is the reason he brought in Bret Hart. Any comments?
That was the reason he brought in Bret Hart, is because
yes, he wanted a roster that was different than the one that was on Nitro.
I think he brought in Bret Hart because he was available.
I think he brought in Bret Hart because,
Hey, we got the bloodline in the building. What's good?
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us, Scott, aka one of the members of the Talk Champions crew.
Wait, wait, pause. Before we go any further. Everybody follow Scotty Wrestling on TikTok. He is the de facto manager of Talk of Champions. So if you see Scotty posting on the Talk of Champions TikTok or anywhere else, just know he is family, blood, and he's allowed to do that. And yeah, I'm happy that he's here. Welcome.
He's allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Well, clearly, if he's posting, he's allowed to do it.
Exactly. He got access. You feel me?
Every time I talk crap about Goldberg, Mike Skyros likes it.
Shout out to Skyros too.
I know so somewhere. This is where they introduced Bret Hart in this episode. Bret said he was at the top of the heap in WWF. He said during those days he beat The Undertaker for the title. He beat Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was a WWF guy. He thinks that he was a big part of the success they had. Right? Do you want to add to that, or do you want me to keep
going? I fucking tell you? I tell you? I told you my Skyros is gonna be here. I told you my Skyros is here. Here you are. I told you my Skyros is here.
Thank you for joining us.
I told you my Skyros is in the building. Shout out to my Skyros.
So you have anything to comment about that before I read straight through the opening of Bret?
Nah, I'm gonna just say this because I'm gonna forget about it, and it links into what we're gonna talk about later as it pertains to Goldberg. Mm-hmm. These two are diametrically on two different sides of the spectrum, but here's where they kind of share similarity when I listen to this over. I hear Bret Hart say, "I beat The Undertaker, and I beat Steve Austin," and how he beat all these people, and then it brings me back to when they were talking about the screw job, and how they were saying like Bret really took himself like way serious, like he was really that guy. Now Goldberg, on the other hand, you listen to him later on, he's gonna come in, we're gonna talk about it later. I'm 280 pounds fat, I can go from 0 to 60 in no seconds flat. This is what I mean. He's thinking like he's literally that guy. So we got two guys that legitimately believe that what they're doing is, really going on. But that's really what I took away from that whole intro of Bret. I love the Bret tribute though. I love how they gave Bret his flowers. Though, especially on a WCW platform.
That's where I'm going into. You could do the comments as I do that. Medusa says that happy Juneteenth. Medusa said that she likes Bret Hart. She had a lot of respect for the man. She adds her 1.5 cents every 40 minutes.
Backstage brawl from Twitch.
Kevin Nash said Bret Hart is somebody that he had his best matches with. And I think he made a mistake by saying matches because he had his best match with Bret Hart. He said ultimate respect. Conan said he loved Bret Hart. He's like a national treasure in Canada. People respected him and looked up to him. Booker said he emulated some of his style from Bret, and it only said suplex.
Listen. I can understand why he say that because Booker's a very sound worker.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I can see, on a technical space, yeah, I get it. Yes, I can see that. You study Bret Hart tapes, yes. Your trainer sent you Bret Hart tapes.
So Bret Hart said that Bischoff said what's it gonna take for you to come to WCW, and they got around the 2.8 million a year mark. 2.8 million a year, and we don't necessarily. I don't have the numbers of how long he signed that contract for, but then it ties back into Goldberg later. Because 2.8 a year, and then you have to retire. And they re-signed everybody again in '98, so it probably was more by the time everything happened. But more on that later. He said the first night he walked in, they got the right reaction. Eric Bischoff said he needed him to anchor Thunder. Bret was critical to that. Bret Hart said it went downhill from there. He said he was being flown from Calgary and told that he was off for the night. And it would happen week after week, sitting in dressing rooms doing nothing. He said Eric Bischoff would apologize all the time and sorry about how he was brought in. Bret Hart said everything that Eric Bischoff said was a lie. Neil Pruitt, the producer, said we already knew that we was running through. Janie Engel, she was executive assistant for WCW. Kevin Nash and Kevin Sullivan kind of broke down the schedule now with Thunder on it. So they had Monday Nitro, 2 days of house shows, then 2-hour Thunder, and then a Saturday show, WCW Saturday night. Also, they didn't add that they was doing tape-ins for Worldwide, which came on Sunday. So
wait, did we mention that Thunder was taped?
So Thunder, after I went off about Thunder being taped, they tried to be live initially.
And then it was like, we can't.
And then they went on Thursday initially. And then that's when WWE said, well, we're going to do Thursday Night SmackDown. And then Thunder went to Wednesday. But they said they might have a pay-per-view. And Kevin Nash said, basically, they're doing 10 hours of booking in 2 days. And it was impossible to have any attention to detail. Said that they didn't have finishes for most of the matches because everything was just time-consuming. They didn't have finishes for most of the matches when it was just one show.
Yo, I don't remember any WCW show, whether it be a Nitro, or anything.
Medusa is incredible, but for this series, it's no purpose in it. It's just like having me talk about, I was gonna say AEW, but yeah, it's like having me talk about AEW, and I just throw in a 2 cents of nothing of real matters, but I like Medusa otherwise. Yeah, that's totally fair. They didn't have good finishes when it was just 2 shows. Brett's my favorite. I made sure. No, his DVDs are great. Anything that you want to add about this schedule before I go into the next part?
No.
Fair. Neil Pruitt said they were trying to think of something new, but they're always going to go back to things that worked before. Eric Bischoff then pissed me off by saying the NWO was still putting money, like still printing money. The ratings were so good, so they just kept adding to the NWO. And I quote, he said, let's create a red faction. Let's create a Latino faction. How dare him speak of what gave them another, 20, not, I don't want to say 20, but another like 10 weeks. And just throw the Wolfpack to the red faction. Like, that's just a discredit. They always discredit the Wolfpack of like, oh, it was too much going on. Unfortunately, the Wolfpack actually carried them throughout 98. If they didn't have the Wolfpack, they would have lost well before. That's you can go anytime you want to, Stan. I was talking about how they called the Wolfpack the red faction.
I was waiting for it to be safe to cross the street. That's all.
Cross that street.
No,
Jaywalk.
no, 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 hold on,
Jaywalk.
hold on, hold on. Nah, honestly, I don't like how they always they talk about the Wolfpack like it wasn't like the coolest thing going in like '98 in wrestling. You know, like they always talk about like she just said. They talk about NWO Red, and then they like throw it in with their NWO Elite, and they talk about all these different random heads. Like
And the
if you,
LWO, and unfortunately, the LWO didn't have traction. The LWO was just like the BWO.
yeah, and if you was really watching during that time, like there was real reason why the NWO Wolfpack even existed. And they never even go into any of this stuff. They don't tell you why the Wolfpack existed. They don't tell you why quote unquote Brett was mishandled in WCW. They don't ever tell you why, give you any reasonings why for these things. The Wolfpack existed because Kevin Nash was having internal beef with Hulk Hogan. And so then they broke away.
Real life.
Yeah, right? So then they broke away and they were like, yo, we're going to do this cool thing over here since you're freaking being Hulk Hogan and you're trying to hog up all the everything. We're over here now. Remind you, it started with the Macho Man first that broke off, and then Kevin Nash came and did the thing, and then he brought on Conan. They talk about Conan like Conan was just some random person in the NWO.
But Conan kind of talks about it like he was some random.
You know why? You know why? Because of what they did on that finger poke of doom thing.
Possibly.
And they kicked them out. They kicked them out the whip that night, and that's why he talks about it like that. If it wasn't for that, he'd be still rocking that NWO forever. You know what I'm saying?
Can I respond to AJ real quick? The hip hop influence straight from the theme song that they took from a rap band called Militia. Literally, they took the song Burn and Jimmy Hart did his thing, and then that's their song. So the song that we love is a real song that, was a little bit bubbling. But go ahead.
Yeah, like that's the other thing too. You got guys like Conan and guys like Six who did play the background in the NWO that made it cool, that gave it that image to me, because damn sure wasn't Hogan. You know what I'm saying? Hogan wasn't the guy that looked at and like, oh, this shit is gangster, this shit is cool. Nah.
Hogan got the masses. Everybody else got the cool factor.
And that's why I don't like how they just like, one, poo-poo members of the NWO, two, how they just act like the Wolfpack wasn't just some, oh, let's just make a red version of. No, there was real reasoning behind that storyline wise, and two, they were actually over to the point where they had to do this finger poke of doom crap, which we'll talk about, where Hogan said, wait a minute, you guys are cool, I want to be down with the red.
They don't even talk about that in the show. We'll get to it. So yeah,
they slide on Sting joining the Wolfpack like that wasn't the hottest moment in WCW.
They talk so badly about Sting in the Wolfpack.
Oh my god!
They tried to tell us that he looked bad in that red face paint.
No. First of all, Sting joining the NWO was the dopest thing that they ever did in the 90s. That was the dopest thing they ever did in the 90s. Number one. Number two, with the week after he came in with that red face paint, that shit was crazy. And they had the theme song too. Please stop it. NWO Sting was popping back in the day. That's that retroactive history that people that one wasn't there or two trying to throw shit on it because they want to sound cool and they want to sound like folk they listen to. That's what they'll tell you.
Scott, WCW didn't die under Jim Herd. There was no death under Jim Herd because you know why? They wasn't alive until Eric Bischoff came and said, I'm gonna do things, unfortunately.
Look, the reason why that's a narrative, quote unquote, is because he was the guy that was the transitional point between the old NWA and the new WCW. He was the guy that told Ric Flair, you're gonna go from being Ric Flair, we're gonna cut your hair and we're gonna call you Spartacus from now on. And then Ric Flair quit and went to the WWE. And then he brought in RoboCop. That's Jim Herd. So when they talk about, Jim Herd like that, that means the death of, quote unquote, the old school guy, because he brought in all the silly stuff in the beginning. That's what that is.
My hair is hearing because it's hot.
NWO Red. We will not refer to them ever as NWO Red.
And I know this is Randy. This is Randy. Randy, I will kick you out the chat and ban you.
This is not Pokemon. This is NWO Wolf.
It's not Black and Silver. Or was it? It wasn't Black and Silver.
No. It definitely wasn't.
But no, they didn't even call it
Wolf Pack.
Yeah.
This is the Wolf Pack. Right, the face of WCW jersey. Yo. Hey, yo. Now, remember that time Kane was supposed to join DX?
And then X-Pac beat up him and his girlfriend for like months.
No, that was like a year later.
I like the way you beat me up. I don't want to talk about that. It's bad.
Wait. Pause. That was like a year later. I was talking about the first time when they said, we got a new member of Degeneration X. Kane.
Wolfpack had a different buzz that NWO Black and White couldn't touch. I remember the night Sting having, yes.
Facts, man.
Remember when they debuted their music and they played their music for like 4 minutes straight?
That's why I do not like. Yo, they never mention this theme song when they talk about the NWO Red either, do they? I can't stand this revisionist history ass shit, man. I really can't.
Yo, Randy be playing with me all the time. He really do need to get
no K. Drop the K.
Yo, Randy, leave the chat before I make you go. Nah, because here's the thing, right? No. I don't want to get too far off, but Randy be trying to tell me he was watching WCW. You was not there.
No K, Randy.
All right, back to the story. Back to the story.
He still don't get it.
Anyhow,
I love you, Randy. I love you, bro.
You just can't pass t-shirts out and water down the greatest show in town.
Oh, man.
At that time, the greatest show in town was already watered down when Vincent was in, when a Disciple was in. No. Just be yourself. That's the best thing you could do for me. But this is not you. Wolfpack with a K. Anyhow, Conan said there was too many people and it wasn't cool anymore. Conan said there was too many people in it and it wasn't cool anymore. Bret Hart said, if you watch one match, you've seen them all. Every show ends with 20 people running out. And he said he was asking, why am I running out? And remember, they had Bret Hart running out for like a good couple months.
I'm sorry.
Especially when they did Wolfpack.
I'm sorry. Please wait. I got to do this. Since he's here, everybody if you're watching on Twitch or anywhere, follow the Backstage Brawl. They just got a Twitch. Follow the Backstage Brawl. Get that out there. Shop business. My bad. Keep going, baby. I watched it back then. How bad really was the backlash? So
the finish was bad, but what happened? The aftermath was worse. They stripped Sting of the belt, and Sting disappeared for a while. He didn't return until like March or February of '98.
Personally speaking, I was like 7 when
wow.
I was like 7 when this happened, so I'd be lying to you if I could tell you what the climate was. But I can tell you how I felt when I watched it for the first time, and I felt the same way they probably felt the week after when they saw this shit.
So I have an older brother who I seen pissed off about these things, and I seen him more pissed off that they stripped the belt off of Sting than that finish being wonky. Okay. Oh, I don't think so. But Eric Bischoff said, creating momentum is really hard. The only thing harder than creating momentum is maintaining momentum.
Yeah, Hill Classic from the Twitch. Shout out. Follow my man, Michael Bostic, Hill Classic, with the freaking Fortnite and the freaking R&B tunes. Follow my mans.
I love you. Can you stop promoting while I'm reading?
Sorry.
Guy Evans said, Something significant happened on April 13th, which was Raw. April 13th, 1998, which was Raw beating Nitro in the ratings for the first time in 22 months. So they literally was beating them straight for almost 2 years. And realistically, them beating them straight for 2 years was a stretch. Because they was fumbling by mid-97 with the NWO. So, Brad Siegel said, whenever you're leading a night and now you're not leading a night, that's a reason for concern. He said that WCW Monday Nitro became a huge primetime hit with those numbers. He said those numbers exploded because it wasn't just men 18 to 34 anymore. It became families. And he had his eye on Goldberg. This is when that bitch nigga walked in.
No diddy.
I can't call him a nigga. Sorry. This is when that bitch man walked in. His whole spiel. I was born with something. I'm fucking 6'3", 280 pounds. I can go from 0 to 100 and 100 to 0 in 60 seconds. Why the fuck in a match do you need to go to 100 to 0? But he said what the business didn't have was something he wanted to fill the void with. What was what the business didn't have that he wanted to fill the void with? What was that? What was that? He says that was the beauty of the character that we came up with. I am the fucking character. I am Goldberg. That's his introduction to this episode. Go ahead, baby. Go ahead.
I'm gonna save it.
Copy. Eric Bischoff says he don't ever think that there was an athlete, a star, a performer, or a professional wrestler that rose as quickly as Goldberg did. He was on a rocket ship since day one. Goldberg said a professional wrestler, in quotation marks, was never anything he aspired to be. His existence was to play football. His existence was to play football. He was never the best football player by any stretch of the imagination. He got hurt in 94, had no idea what he was going to do next with the rest of his life. He was depressed as fuck. Said that when he started seriously considered becoming a professional wrestler, I don't know why I can't talk right now, he had to come up with something where he felt he was continually building upon what he had strived to be, which was the baddest dude on the field. Kevin Sullivan said, I gave him black boots, black tights, he didn't talk. Mike Tyson had black boots, black tight, he didn't need to talk. You want to add anything?
No, not yet.
Okay. Goldberg said, you didn't know whether he was going to bite your ear or knock you out with an uppercut. You didn't know what was going to happen when you watched this guy. Maybe that's why it worked. Eric Bischoff said the crowd was reacting to Goldberg like a superstar. Bret Hart said they pushed him like crazy. DDP said there's never been a push like it. Eric Bischoff said they put him out there for squash matches. The fans love it, so why mess with it, pretty much. Kevin Sullivan said there was a lot of people jealous. Kevin Nash comes in and says, Bill's a fan. Bill's a mark. Bill's a football player. Bret Hart said someone should have pulled him aside and taught him and said, hey, you know this is pretend, right? He said they didn't. Kevin Nash said, this is a fucking television show. I know when you tackle somebody, you think it's real, but the person in the corner being potatoed had enough. Bill Goldberg quits. I feel bad, but as long as the intent is not there, it's not my fault. You can't blame me. Should I stop?
Yeah, let's stop there.
Okay.
So much is wrong when I hear that whole thing. Like, it's hard to even pick out, where to start. Like, you know, it. So when he says he never got into it for being a professional wrestler, that is not, that in itself isn't a sin. You know, we know plenty
No.
of people that didn't get into wrestling because they wanted to be a professional wrestler or whatever.
Some of the best people that came into the sport had no intention to ever be a professional wrestler. Kurt Angle. Look at Bianca Belair now. You know?
Yeah, so that's not the sin here.
Braun Breaker.
The sin here is when he later on talks about, you know, when you hear his peers tell you, you know, how he's dangerous and he's hurting folks and no one really ever taught him how to work. And then you hear him kind of disregard it, kind of like, you know, that's what they're there for. You know, you kind of get this impression that he does not understand that this is supposed to be a shit, that you're not actually supposed to hurt people. And if you do hurt somebody, that's just part of the game. I think that's that kind of is what came off here. And for somebody to be at that level, and we're going to talk, and then it goes into the Scott Hall thing, somebody to be at that level and not understand that is extremely problematic, especially when you're as big and as strong as he legitimately is.
Mm-hmm.
We're working. You know what I'm saying? This is the UFC, where this is actually football. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're supposed to hit hard in safe places. But obviously, this man was never brought under that tree. And here's the thing, too. That environment was not the place for him to learn these things either. You got all these snakes in the grass, all these sharks. He don't know who to trust. So even if somebody like a Bret Hart were to take him aside and be like, hey, yo, he's going to look at him like he's a snake. He's gonna look at him like, you know, different than a Hogan or a Nash or somebody talking to me. He is, and you gotta remember, he's super green. He's super new to this. So this is really, he don't know. He said it himself. I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay.
And you got in a match out. You're in a match with Scott Hall. You're in a match with Scott Hall on national live television. You mess up the spot.
Jeff in the hat.
All I'm saying is, it just shows his lack of, everything he said here shows his lack of respect for the business, for the craft, for the people he's in there with. He thinks it's all about him. He thought, you know, he was born on home plate and thought he hit a home run.
Stanley, if you shoot somebody and they die and you go to court and say my intent wasn't to kill them, are you still liable?
Absolutely. And here's the thing too. Here's the thing about that too. If you call a move, it's still your responsibility to protect your opponent. Rule number freaking 1, protect yourself and your opponent at all times.
We could call Bradley and ask him the rule number 1.
He's probably watching. Who knows? It might scare, you know. Listen, rule number 1, protect yourself and your opponent. And you're gonna throw a move like that, and you're gonna throw it at,
we're jumping ahead.
It's crazy.
Conan stated there was a lot of jealousy. He mockingly said, this guy hasn't paid his dues. Goldberg doesn't love this like we do. Goldberg said, they can all kiss my ass. He'll take all the criticisms on the way up because he's still that guy. They tried every freaking thing they could for me not to be that guy, and who prevailed?
See, that's exactly what I said. This guy Conan is saying, on one hand, yo,
not really.
He's green and all that, and then he's really believing, like, oh yeah, I prevailed. Like he couldn't even listen to somebody like Conan that would try to give him game, because he was thinking everybody's against him, and that, oh yeah, look, I prevail. I'm that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's his mindset. It's crazy.
Bret Hart said Goldberg was really phenomenal. No, sorry, this Brad Siegel. Brad Siegel said he felt that Goldberg was really phenomenal and that he would bring in advertisers. He said all the other stuff they were buying and consuming, he said the kids loved Goldberg, and that's the fact that he said, and the fact that he was undefeated. The kids loved that Goldberg was undefeated. As a kid, I didn't love that, but I'm not the majority.
Look, two things can be true. This is one of these things that is like two things can be true. He was over as fuck.
He was.
People loved him. People
They
went up
did.
for him. He was entertaining. Me as a kid, personally, loved seeing it. It was crazy, right? But on the other side, you don't know what you're doing. You're hurting folk, and you're not receptive to knowledge.
So I wanna, before we get into it, you know what? I'll throw it in a second, right? Eric Bischoff said he was in LA one day. He got a phone call from Hogan, saying that he wants to wrestle Goldberg in the Georgia Dome and put him over clean, saying it was the right time to do so. I know you want to add to this one, so go ahead.
No, go.
He says Goldberg's the hometown hero from the Falcons. They were saying that it felt like a Super Bowl. They sold out the Georgia Dome. It was $10 million between Raw and Nitro were zeroed in on professional wrestling. It was mind-blowing. Goldberg said it was the coolest shit ever. He says the feeling that he got when the crowd reacted to him receiving the belt, he said there was nothing like it. It was the coolest moment. Neil Pruitt said, why wasn't it on a pay-per-view? Like, man, we could have made a lot more money if we kept it off of TV for a while. Eric Bischoff added, I was always criticized for putting pay-per-view matches on TV. And Dick Cheatham, when you was right last week.
I was right, by the way. Yeah.
You were right. It was Cheatham. Dick Cheatham said I wrote his name out instead of like putting an issue.
And wait, can I just say, ironically enough, Dick Cheatham was the ally. He was not trying to cheat him. Dick Cheatham was the guy that was trying to save him.
Dick Cheatham was trying to stop the Cheathams.
Listen. Dick Cheatham will pull up to your local wrestle indie show today.
No, Dick Cheatham ain't coming to your fucking indie show.
You don't know. He like wrestling.
Dick Cheatham is not coming to your indie show.
You don't
Do
know
not
that.
call Dick Cheatham because he's
not
coming. Look at that man.
You don't know that.
He looked like he sips lemonades on Sunday afternoon. He is
looked
not
like
coming
some
to
of the
your
folks that
hot-ass
pulling
indie
up
show.
to your local indie show.
No. Anyhow.
Mess around.
Dick Cheatham, I don't think he liked wrestling. I think he wanted to do his job. So, Dick Cheatham said WCW was getting a higher rating than anything else in the company. It was the hottest product they had, right? So, we're talking about the Georgia Dome episode where Goldberg wins the belt. I want to add that Brad Siegel and the WCW executives were in the arena for Goldberg winning the championship. So every time you see Brad Siegel talk highly of Goldberg, he sees how that packed arena reacted to him and said, "That's our guy. Give it to him."
Can we make a rule like talking champions? We like Mr. Cheatham, and we don't like Mr. Siegel. Can we say that? Talking champions here. We're a fan of Mr. Cheatham. Hey, Lady Shadow! Hey, let's go. What's good? Everybody follow Lady Shadow. That's what's up. How you doing? We are well. Thanks for coming through.
Stan has so many Twitch fans, and he's so happy.
Straight up, yo, follow the Twitch. We outside talking champions. Let's go.
So, I don't want to jump. I can. Dick Cheatham is the ally in this story. But they haven't gotten to we'll get to the point where Brad Siegel kind of shows his colors, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a new talking head. It's Stu Snyder, former vice president of Turner Home Entertainment. I want you to kind of remember this name because it's going to pop up. And if it doesn't pop up, I'm going to bring it up. They say he had a connection to Vince McMahon. More on that later.
Oh, thank you. Which one?
He said your last one. What was your last one?
I want him to tell me. I forgot the last one. I don't know. If my last one to me might not be the last one to him. We don't know.
Thank you for watching his last one.
Yeah, appreciate him.
So, Stu Snyder comes in. He says,
did I win?
It didn't always advertise into the highest value that you could get for air dollars. Brad Siegel said, the disconnect between advertising dollars and the size of the audience for wrestling became an issue. Dick Cheatham, my main man, said one of
We fuck with Dick Cheatham. We fuck with Dick
one of
Cheatham.
the forces working against the ad revenue was that our ad people was on the so the ad people wasn't selling wrestling. They didn't like it and they wanted to get rid of it.
World Championship Wrestling.
Listen, it's been gone. It's been gone for 23 years. I can understand people not knowing what World Championship Wrestling is. It's not disrespectful at all. No, it's been gone longer than it's been alive.
We got you. That's why we here. That's why we here.
It literally is why we here.
No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. You good. You good. You good.
Ignorance is bliss. We're never gonna blame someone for not knowing. We're gonna blame people for not trying to know. I'm sorry. So Dick Cheatham said there was such a pressure on Eric with the opposition, not only at corporate, but also the people he reported to, saying that he had no friends. Goldberg said it was always an ulterior motive, which at the end of the day could maybe mean destruction for your company. Right? Anything to add in that little bit right there?
No, I'm sorry. I was reading the comments. I didn't really catch. What was the last? Nah, you're good.
Goldberg saying there was always an ulterior motive, and that could mean destruction for your company. And Dick Cheatham said that Eric Bischoff had no friends. The opposition was from corporate and as well as the people he reported to.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, shout out to the Netherlands. I mean, yeah, again, two things can be true. This guy was definitely dealing with some pressure from the higher ups to do his thing, but you know, it's not like they were holding up their end of the deal on the TV side.
Yeah. So at this point, for some reason, they're showing clips of The Rock's debut. And Jim Ross saying he's a blue chipper.
Like, I love The Rock. Because I love The Rock. You know, I just don't know. He has nothing to do with this story at all. Like, you know.
But you know the sad part? He had a little more to do than Medusa.
Well, no. Listen, I would have rather had him talk about the night that he fought Mankind, because at least you were in.
He did.
I mean, go into detail about that.
Like, that'll be his only talking head moment.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You gonna go into detail about that. You talking about anyway.
How you felt backstage. But anyhow, The Rock said he was the opening match. Before the show ended, he was already back in his hotel room watching Nitro, seeing what they were doing and if they can do something like that or better. If you're the opening match, why are you watching to see what they can do or better if you're the opening match? That means you have no say-so whatsoever at all, not even a little bit. Thank you. Hi, Lady Shadow. Thank you so much. But again, I'm sorry. I was yelling at The Rock. He made me mad. Like, why are you talking like you were the man? And they said, yeah, I was the opening match. So I got home early and I was able to see what they was doing, see if we could do something better. Sir. Dwayne. Listen.
Sir.
I think that he can't think about times when he wasn't The Rock anymore, so he just makes things up.
I don't know.
Again, don't that lead to my theory?
Don't know.
That lead to my theory?
I don't know, man.
WCW is what made WWE become the WWE you know today.
Wait, is that the same? That's hilarious. That's great. Yo, oh my God, yes.
Wrestling.
Yes.
Wrestling. I like new fans.
Yes. Shout out to the Lady Shadow. Follow her.
So, yeah, to seeing what they could do better. He said, when you're getting your ass kicked week after week, you say, fuck it. What can we do? What can we do? He said that WWF's answer to the NWO was attitude.
I mean, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that portion of the show I agreed with. I agreed with that because we got to remember about the landscape, what the WWE looked like before the NWO hit. We had Doink the Clown. We had Duke the
Hi,
Duck. They were
Abraham.
Abraham. Oh, now we're really back. We got old
I
school
know we got we
day
got
one
we got
fans.
actual
Yeah,
champions people. You know
now we
the
got
funny
day
thing
ones
is
here.
we could do a long clip of how many times I said hi, Abraham.
Right?
Thank you for joining us. We missed you.
Facts. What were we talking about? I forgot.
We were talking about WWF before the NWO.
Oh, yeah, they were like on some cartoon time. Like, then when the NWO hit, that's why WCW pulled ahead because this guy was talking about, yo,
Always.
I'm gonna make it more of a legitimate thing. I'm gonna give them real names. You're gonna have more realistic storylines. That's how they pulled ahead of the WWF in the
You
first
want to know
place.
something crazy? Between Abraham and Nick, they were a part of my whole tenure in the IWC.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I never talked about wrestling online without them.
Was it? He's still here. He's still here. He's still here. He's still here. He'll be back. He'll be
That's the
back.
last thing you need to say to Stan.
Right. And then she didn't even know wrestling. She didn't even know what we was talking about as far as WCW, but she know who Roman Reigns is. Knowledge of tribal truth, y'all. I want to hear about. There's no such thing as a casual fan.
I'm never gonna talk about these new guys not being because Roman Reigns got it. I learned the hard way.
Roman got it right now.
Oh, well, not right now because they took it from him. I hate them for that. But
no, he still got it because you see how it's not it no more. Or right now,
we gotta go into the story so we don't go too long, right? Eric Bischoff said he likes to refer to the Attitude Era as the Nitro Era. You are out of your goddamn mind.
I'm not mad at that. I'm never gonna
refer to it as that.
Listen, I'm not mad at. Of course we wouldn't, but I'm not mad at him for saying that because he's right. He did. He's right. Yes. No. Absolutely, he's right. He was pushing the envelope on them.
That you couldn't even do on Nitro as the Nitro Era.
He was doing it before them.
He was not doing the Attitude Era before them.
He was doing things that all right, boom. The Attitude, it wasn't necessarily the Attitude Era, but it was that beginning stages of, we're gonna push the line, push the envelope of we're gonna go from PG rating. Now we're gonna go to PG, maybe a little bit of R. You know what I'm saying?
They was always PG.
Yeah,
WCW couldn't do anything.
Yeah, but they still pushed the envelope, and that's why they had to cut back.
So here's the thing.
That whole storyline with that whole gangline storyline with the NWO coming in, that was groundbreaking. I ain't never seen nothing like that before.
I wholeheartedly believe that Eric Bischoff didn't really copy ECW. He just seen people and took his stars, you know?
I would say the Attitude Era looks more like ECW, if anything. Yeah. But I definitely see why Eric Bischoff said it because he was the one that started pushing that envelope. Oh my God, Monica McNutt! Yeah, we are lit.
Thank you. Anyhow, I'm never calling it the Nitro Era.
You don't have to.
You don't call nothing the Nitro Era.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to. I just understand why he said that.
So he said, they were going after the same audience that he recognized was being underserved. He said there was a fight that they've been dominating, and these guys are coming back. WCW wasn't hurting, but WWF was getting stronger. In 1998, he said 1998 was a record year in revenue for WCW, but all of a sudden that didn't matter anymore, and that hurt WCW in ways he didn't anticipate. He said, July 1998, he was sitting in a meeting with 10 to 12 people higher up on the food chain than he was, telling them how he was going to operate WCW and change their target demographic. He said it was going to change their target demographic that they build their entire business upon. They wanted kids and families. Right? One sec. They wanted kids and families. Stu Snyder said, what you really need for success is the people coming in on the outside. Brad Siegel said there was a discussion about could they do it without being as lewd as the WWF. Eric Bischoff said Vince McMahon and the WWF said, let's do what Eric's doing and let's do it better. And they did. Bret Hart said Turner was strict about what could be done on the show, and Vince was happy to do all of that. Brad Siegel said Vince took it into the gutter. Kevin Nash said they had Jenna Jameson, and we was just like, our butter was give a guy an NWO shirt, and they showed them giving Dusty Rhodes an NWO shirt. And I want you to know, I'm so happy they showed that because Dusty had no motherfucking business being in the NWO.
Nope. But hey, Cece.
Love you, Cece.
Actually, I hate that they showed that. Is because it just furthers that narrative about how they was just letting motherfuckers in the NW, and then it just shows like a low point. It shows a very low point to highlight their point.
There were very few high
like
points
that.
of them adding people to NWO.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't like them showing that very, very low point to highlight their narrative.
Lows
I didn't
than
like
highs.
I didn't like that. I didn't like that though. Y'all could have showed when Sting joined the Wolfpack, and that wasn't cool. Y'all could have showed when the Wolfpack went for Scott Hall.
75% of the NWO. And Stan and I was supposed to do a show where we ranked the NWO members, but we never got that together.
Facts. We were supposed to do a Rock and Triple H episode too. We're gonna do that. We got some shit in the can.
Dusty Rhodes left us some years ago. Was it 10?
Yeah. Dusty left us, but his son is the current champion now.
I don't want to talk about that. We're not talking about
Roman
that.
Reigns. I just had to keep her left in.
Oh, I want in on that show. If we're doing it, it's an anniversary of Toka Champions, and you're not part of that anniversary of Toka Champions, Kyle. Maybe we'll do it with you. I'm sorry. maybe.
Oh shit.
I'm sorry. Mean is my first response. He said that everything they was doing I got lost being an asshole.
Yo, that fact. Thank you, Lady Shadow. That's what we're here for. You gotta see Dusty's son mess up the product. No, let me stop.
No,
I like
Dusty's son. Watch us talk about Dusty's son.
Oh yeah. I'm a wrestler too. You can watch me.
Understand. Our dad got lost. So Kevin Nash said that everything they could do to combat WWF was being taken away from them. Eric Bischoff said they were being mandated.
Well, I'm telling Kyle we love him because he's crying.
Eric Bischoff said they were being mandated to the way that they were producing the show back in like the days before Eric came. And he said, he was like, they were being mandated to produce the show when they couldn't even be a distant second. He said that he had taken the business out of the dumpster and turned it into a success, and all of a sudden standards and practices are coming in and telling him what he can and cannot do. Said if push comes to shove, he's going to fight it. He's going to fight it till Ted's death, and it's going to be him and the other guy, and we'll see who wins. That's what he said. DDP said, when you're winning, you're the guy, and then it's all fun. But when you're losing, not so much. Eric Bischoff's wife said he was a very positive guy, and all of a sudden that began to change. Eric Bischoff said he found himself fighting with departments of Turner Broadcasting that he never knew existed before. And I want to say that loud because that Georgia Dome show opened WCW up to all of this. Standards and practices, random people saying, we just want kids and family. Remember, Bill Shaw said, we'll get to it. So he says, one day he was sitting in his office and Kevin Nash offered to temporarily take the books off his hands. And so Eric gets his feet underneath him, takes some of the pressure off of him. Kevin Nash said he was having such a hard time bumping heads with everyone about everything. Eric Bischoff said there was other people he could have handed it off to, but he was confident in Kevin Nash's instincts. Kevin Nash said he wished he said, hey, let's go to a strip club. So like Eric Bishop adds, there's a big difference being a part of the group, throwing ideas, and being the guy to say, no, I know you don't want to do this, but you're doing it, especially if you're a talent. He said that it was a bad situation. It was a bad situation, but it was the best case scenario. You have anything to add?
Yeah, a few things. Number one,
I got Clarence. Go ahead.
Stephanie McMahon, yes, she's still there, but she is no longer on television. They run the company without their dad, and they are separate on their own with TKO. What up, Lewis? How you doing? Shout out to the BCW Bay State Championship Wrestling promoter, of which I do hold one half of the BCW World Tag Team Championship.
Champion, Lewis?
You know what I'm saying? So we promoting out here, BCW in your building. It's all about the mission.
I didn't even know it was next to you.
Oh yeah. I keep that on me. I keep that.
Okay. What do you have to add about Kevin Nash becoming a booker?
Oh yeah. So as far as Kevin Nash, it shouldn't have happened. But listen, if you're Kevin Nash, I don't like people throw shit at Kevin Nash. Because if you're Kevin Nash, what are you gonna do? Yeah. I got you. No, but if you're Kevin Nash, what are you gonna do? If somebody's gonna give you, if you're already working a job, right, and your boss comes to you and no, you go to your boss and say, "Hey, boss."
Hold on, she's Mercedes Moné and she's in AEW.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Crazy on it. We here. So
he keeps it next to him so when he streams he can pull it up.
Is that no? We champions and shit. You know? But
we talking champions, so he gotta have his back.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? I got a rep.
Go back to Kevin Nash being a booker.
Yeah. So yeah. Speaking of which, you go to your boss and you're like, "Hey, I can take over this for you." So that means you get power and more money. You're gonna say no? No.
I don't think he got more money for being. He probably got.
He definitely got more money for being. That's a whole nother job.
He did it in '98, right before his contract.
You feel me?
Yeah.
You're getting talent and you're getting that. You know?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So you have power and you have power, influence, and money, bro. You're chill. You can see in how he talks about it. He said he told you, "Yo, I probably should have took him to a strip club instead," but he'll tell you himself. But you know what? Who is he to turn all that down? I'm not. If it was me, I'll tell you right now.
They pretty much them and Hogan created the guaranteed contract.
Scott Hall. Throw him in Scott Hall. I mean, shots with both Miz recently. Oh yeah, you met yes.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's awesome as hell. I want to meet Roman Reigns.
Yeah, Nash is gonna get more money if he breathed 3 times.
No, absolutely. That's what he's about. Power in a promotion, people with egg,
And you know. Hi, Stephanie Hardy.
Family in the building. Everybody, stop what you're doing. Follow Stephanie Hardy.
Yo, you telling everybody to follow
Hardy
everyone.
Show.
I love you. Stephanie Hardy, tell me what you think about the Who Killed WCW series if you're watching.
We gotta spread the love. You know what I'm saying? Follow her. She does great work. You know what I'm saying?
Anything else you gotta add before I move forward?
No, he just shouldn't have been the booker. And I don't blame him for taking the job.
He already had input.
All good. He shouldn't have been that much in control. I don't blame him for taking the job. No. And for what I don't know if we're jumping ahead or jumping back.
We might. So
whatever they did with Goldberg, whatever he did with Goldberg, he deserved it.
That is anyhow. Medusa makes a quip about the monkeys running the zoo. And it shows that she serves no purpose on this docuseries. She spoke 3 times in the 2 episodes, and I wish that it was probably like 4 times, but I wish that they got someone that added more to this story. So they never really killed the cruiserweight division. What happened was the main cruiserweights, like the big dogs, like Eddie, Dean, they all went to WWF. But they still had a decent cruiserweight division. Even throughout WCW's tenure, You can always watch a cruiserweight match and be excited for it. The Power Plant guys that was coming up, the Elix Skippers, the Shane Helms, the Evan Courageous sometimes, they were all good. They added a cruiserweight tag team at the tail end, but they never really killed the cruiserweight division. Conan said that Kevin Nash listened to all the people who didn't have the best interest in the company. Then Goldberg said, it's not about being the biggest or strongest. It's about it's about whose ass they kiss. And Goldberg, no, it's not about being the biggest and strongest. It's about being a good wrestler.
But no. Again, two things can be true. Two things can be true. You know?
If you have YouTube, watch things on YouTube when it pop up. You streaming, I think the Netherlands, you might still have WWE Network. That's always amazing. I miss the network. But there's ways you could watch it. You can't watch it live, but you could watch it later, you know? In the network, you could watch some of the pay-per-views lives.
I used to use LimeWire back in the day. I don't know if that'll help you.
Nash says he didn't have a problem with Bill. He was happy he was getting pushed, but he had the belt too long. Bill Goldberg won the belt July 6, 1998, and he held the belt until December 27th, 1998. That is 5 months.
So, boom. Let me just say this. This is where Kevin Nash gives himself away as a hater, right? He's absolutely right about everything he's saying about dude. Like, you know.
Lewis, we talk about WCW. Of course we owed.
Hey, right? Exactly, right? I look good, though. I wear it well. You know what I'm saying? But but this is where Kevin Nash kind of came off of as a little bit of a hater. This is where the haterade came out. You know, I think two things can be true. Because, yeah, you're right in everything that you're saying. But you going to tell me this man had the belt for too long? Really? He was hot. You talking about you was over as fuck? No, he was over as fuck at that time, sir. What are you talking about?
So, unfortunately, I did the research last night. Remember I told you it took me entirely too long to type this up?
Uh-huh.
I did the research last night. 5 months is the longest reign that someone held the WCW title since Hogan's 96 to 97 run.
Okay.
So
how am I supposed to feel about that? Like, no.
So,
wait. So besides Hulk Hogan, right? Yeah. God forbid we give anybody any kind of cup of coffee and a hot meal with the belt. Golly.
Do you want me to kind of list the rings?
No, please don't. I'm gonna get upset again. No, don't.
That literally is the longest reign, especially since in the 97-98 territory. But they were passing that around.
He was. Oh, look, listen, and here's the thing. He's right in the respect that the babyface, you make more money when the babyface is chasing the belt.
We getting there.
I get that, but when you say he had it for too long, bro, too long.
The second longest reign was Hogan from August 9th, 97 to December 28th, 97. And then afterwards, it's been a bunch of vacancies, flipping it over. Hogan taking it from Macho Man the following night.
I could tell you who was the champion. It was a lot of Hogan, a couple Savage, one Luger, Sting a little bit in there.
Hold on, let's do from Hogan's loss in 97. It was Sting. They took it away from December 28th. Sting won it at Starrcade. They took it away from him. January 8th, vacated. Then Sting won it again February 22nd. Then they took it away from him April 19th with Randy Savage winning that Spring Stampede. Hogan took it the next night from Savage and then lost it to Goldberg.
Yeah. So God forbid we let anybody but Hogan hold the belt for a minute. Like, geez.
Oh, we getting there, Lewis. Stick with us.
Lady Shadow, thank you so much for blessing us with your presence on this night. Thank you so much.
Listen, thank you for joining us. Join us anytime. Thank you for your time and your compliments. We love you. You see how loving I get?
No, we do. We love you.
We love the fact that you are here with us. You can do anything and you watching us. Be anywhere in the world tonight, but you're here with us. I
Yo,
appreciate
have a
that.
good night. Have a good night. We see you
Good
on.
night. Unfortunately, as much as Kevin Nash was bullcrapping, that was a long time at that time period. In those couple of weeks, and that year, he had it the longest anyone had it in a year. Brett said he was still very green. He had no idea what he was doing. Not only did he keep hurting all the wrestlers, he kept hurting himself, like another wrestler. And here's where I propose to everybody who's watching: Goldberg is white Ahmed Johnson. And Ahmed Johnson is black Ultimate Warrior. You see the line? I'm always going to bring that back.
It's linear. It's a linear line.
He's White Med Johnson.
The ultimate White Med Johnson.
It's real bad. Real bad. Real bad. I don't know why. Man, it didn't pop up. I think we clicked it at the same time. Yeah, Kyle. You see it. You see it. He hurt everybody. He hurt himself. He was Ahmed Johnson. You see the vibes. You see the vibes. You see the vibes. He's White Man Johnson. That's it. That's it. That's Goldberg. That's Goldberg to a T. And then in 99, he kept hurting himself. Like who? Like who? Like who?
Hold on, my child's making noise. I'll be right back. Hold on.
All right, so I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read and then bring you up to speed. Right? White Man Johnson is so funny. I hurt your feelings? Oh, my bad. He almost killed him. He put his hand through a glass when they gave him a bat. Goldberg, and that's on tonight's episode. Goldberg was dangerous. So Brett said he hurts himself and everybody. Oh, I gotta wait for Stan to come back because this is where Goldberg starts to tell this story about how he was wrestling Scott Hall and he screwed up a spot. And Hall asks him, "What are you doing?" Right? So, sorry. Well, Hall asking him what he's doing, right? Hall asks and says, "What? I shouldn't have did that. Now my fucking head is popped up." But anyhow, Scott Hall says, "What are you doing?" And Goldberg says, "I don't know what the fuck I'm doing." You don't know what the fuck you're doing and you're a wrestler, right? So Goldberg says he don't know what the fuck he's doing. He said he was scared shitless because he's live in front of fans and he didn't know what to do next. Nash says, if you can't do that, you can't fucking be a top guy. And I agree wholeheartedly. Gave himself so many concussions. Hi.
Hey.
I just told the story about how Nash said Goldberg, if Goldberg can't do that, he can't be a top guy. And how Hall said, if you can't do that, Hall said, what the fuck are you doing? And he said he don't know. So go ahead, you can go off.
I'm not even gonna go off. Like boom. Like if you go to
Hold on, let me skim through this and then I'll let you go free. Right? So Nash says if you can't do that, you can't be a fucking top guy. Goldberg says that's when he realized there was a lot of shit that wasn't off of face value. And that's when he really smartened up to this. He said he learned the good, bad, and the ugly very quickly. And he was jumping into shark-infested waters. Now go free.
All right, so boom. It's not even just in wrestling. It's in any performing environment. If you are on stage and something goes wrong or something goes on stage that is not expected, you as a performer are obligated to cover that shit and keep it moving like it was like the professional that you are, right? A lot of motherfuckers, they get in front of the lights, they freeze up. When they mess up, they don't know what to do next. They freeze and they get the deer in headlights look, and then it's ha 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 ha. We look at you, you look stupid.
I'm sorry to reply to Lewis. Regal was told go have a match and not a squash. So Regal went to have a match instead of being squashed.
Yeah. So that's the thing. This guy only knew how to squash people. Like Brett said, no one ever taught him how to actually work. So when they tell Regal, go out there, have a competitive match with him. Goldberg is trying to fight him and trying to squash him, and this guy is actually trying to, nah, I'm gonna work you. I'm gonna, like, because he's William Regal and he knows how to, move in there.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the Scott Hall situation or any situation, this guy clearly had a misstep, and it was, and instead of getting up and rolling with the punches, he made it obvious. If you go back and watch this match, Scott Hall kind of looks at him like, nice job, Bill. You're on TV, Bill. Wake up, Bill. And he proceeds to hold his hand through the rest of the match. Goldberg literally sits there and tells you, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to do. That's a problem. Because you can't be like, listen, I'm not the most experienced guy in the ring, right? I've been working 4 years, but I'll tell you what's not going to happen with me. I'm not going to get in the middle of the ring, something go wrong that I didn't expect, and I'm just going to freeze up and, I don't know what's going on. That's not what I'm going to do. That has nothing to do with me even being a wrestler. That has everything to do with you being a professional and a performer. That's number one. Number two, when this guy then just, oh my God, I forgot the train of thought.
He choked him immediately.
No, it wasn't even besides that. Oh, he says that, okay, and so instead of learning from this experience, right?
Oh, yeah.
Instead of learning from the experience of being humiliated like that and freezing up, you take that as a, oh, they're out to get me. They made me look bad. No, sir. You made you look bad. That man got you through the rest of that match, is what he did. They didn't show that. That man got you through the rest of that match, is what he did, Mr. You went on, and this before he won the belt too. So this guy, Nash is talking to, like, this match happened before this guy even got the belt put on him. I think it might have even been the night it happened, because I know there was a whole bunch of things with him and Hogan. I know he faced Scott Hall before, so I think this might have happened the night it happened, right before. But point being, Nash is right in the respect that, no, you cannot be that top guy and have something like that happen to you on that stage. Boom. Case in point, we just saw Jade Cargill get towed to the fire because she slipped on a top rope. She didn't even botch a spot. She slipped on a springboard on a faulty top rope that everybody slipped on, apparently. And
everybody slipped on that rope.
And now she needs to go back to the performance center. I'm sorry. I saw Jade Cargill bounce right back up, call some other shit that looked like it made sense in real time and not miss a beat. I'm sorry. I saw Jade Cargill lift 2 girls up like this, one like that, and do the fall away like she was goddamn
Damian Priest got tangled within the rope. He didn't just flip. He got tangled within the rope.
I'm just saying,
but
the professionalism is different. You know what I'm saying? You want to talk about y'all give Jade Cargill a hard time. Nah. Bill Goldberg was wilding, and he was actively hurting these people and not caring about it.
And actively hurting himself.
And himself. Like defeating every purpose of what professional wrestling is.
So this side of my hair is going to bother me the rest of my life. So Kevin Nash says, common fact, wrestling 101, the babyface always drew more money chasing the belt than having the belt.
True.
I don't know. You know what? There's some exceptions.
Some exceptions. Hulk Hogan, John Cena. That's it.
Yeah. Steve Austin.
No. Steve Austin's best moments came when he was chasing. As soon as he got the belt, what they make him do? Fight Dude Love. What the fuck?
So he calls Goldberg's undefeated streak a padded stat. He says that Goldberg said, "Who cares? We gave the people what they wanted." Eric Bischoff said, "We got to take him in a different direction in order for him to grow." Goldberg says he never cared. He never got tired of seeing Mike Tyson come out and annihilate people. With the right creative, there's a way to keep things going.
Pause.
I'm gonna pause because I know. Go ahead.
No, not even. Yeah. That was actually double entendre. That was great. But, yeah. So What is this creative? I want to know what example is he talking about? What example in the annals of wrestling did somebody just go undefeated for their whole career and it was just that was the story of it? What experience is he drawing off of? What is he talking about? What creative is he talking about that's gonna think of a way to keep him from ever lose? That's all you wanted. You just wanted to never lose. And you wanted somebody to keep you like the brand, you like the hype that you got off of everything that they gave you, and you wanted them to figure out how to keep you afloat. Is what you
Realistically,
wanted.
even if Goldberg lost, the executives was high up on Goldberg. So Goldberg was not going to drop in the ranks of WCW. Goldberg was always going to be a top guy within WCW.
He just thought he was supposed to be fucking Goku, Superman.
Kevin Nash said that's what you do. You chase with the baby face. When he fucking gets it, you take it right fucking back. Eric Bischoff said Kevin Nash was a politician. Nobody he's ever met that's a top talent was not a politician. He said that's a job prerequisite. Eric Bischoff said he looked at it purely, he said purely physical point of view. He said Goldberg, he said the way he looked at Bill Goldberg as an indestructible man-eating monster, he said who on the roster looked like they could beat that monster?
This is all bullshit.
Yeah, it is. He said it. Kevin Nash standing nearly at 7 foot, 6'10", whatever, probably at the time 340, 350 was believable. You see it in his face when he say was believable.
Look.
You see
Is
that
where
that is bullshit.
this is where they piss me off. This is where they piss me off. Stop being disingenuous and just say what it was. All right, just say what it was. Y'all did not want him to have the belt no more, so y'all said, "All right, let's do this. Let's get it off of him." And you know what? I'm not mad at the taser. For the record, I'm not mad at the taser.
We getting there.
But hold on. I just want to say, I'm not mad at the freaking taser because.
Hold on, you go off in a right. I'll be right back.
All right, I'm not mad at the freaking taser because all that stuff this guy talked about. Oh, you gotta think of a way to keep it going. You obviously think very highly of yourself, and you have this whole little streak going. Well, if you're gonna end the streak, if you are gonna if I'm a wrestler, right? If I have a streak, right? You're gonna beat me with a taser. It's gonna take that to beat me. I'm actually cool with that. You gotta tase me to beat me. All right, cool. I'm actually, I don't have a problem with that. I think that he just really thought a lot more of himself in that regard and wasn't really. Now, mind you, they're full of shit in regards of Nash is he looked the part, he looked believable enough to where he could beat Goldberg. I mean, yeah, that's true, but so did the Giant. So did Luger, so did Sting, so did a lot of people could have took the belt off of Goldberg. You know what I'm saying? It's professional wrestling. You build contenders. You don't just, you know what I'm saying? So where they were right was in the respect of everything we're saying before. This guy is not ready for that position. So they felt like they had to take it off of him. Say that. Stick with that. I don't like the whole, like you said, trying to build him up like he was trying to be the one. No, just say what it was. She's back.
Oh.
A good promoter and a good story can make it. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
And that's Goldberg's career. Goldberg's career was a good promoter and a good story.
And that's the part that he didn't understand. I think that he thought that this was him. This was really his doing. When he talks about I can go 0 to 60, I'm 200. Bro, what does that have to do with?
I think that's what people told him.
No, it's what he brings to the table, because even he said it himself. He didn't succeed at football because that's literally all he had. I can go from he's a freaking meathead. That's
it. Because we're gonna get back there. I promise you, I'm coming back there.
All right.
So Eric Bischoff said he needed someone that could tell a story with a finish. Boy, did you ever. Kevin Sullivan said he wanted Goldberg to be beat clean like he's done everyone else. Pen clean 1, 2, 3 in the ring.
Pause. Wait. I'm sorry. Wait. All the can we just mention the fact all these fucked up WCW finishes and they had Dusty Rhodes the whole time. Anyway, keep going.
He's probably adding to the fucked up. Anyhow, Kevin Sullivan said he wanted him to be beaten clean. They thought that they needed something more. They show a clip of Starrcade '98. Eric Bischoff laughs, and he said, "Yeah, no, that was a mistake." Kevin Nash said, "When you watch the match and he powerbombed him, it was over as fuck."
Nash was over as fuck because of the Wolf Pack, sir.
Yes.
Talk about that.
No, they don't want to.
Wolf Pack.
Hold on, let me get to that because this is why they don't want to, right? Goldberg said he didn't like it and everybody questioned it, but he didn't control that. He just goes out there and does his job. Guy Evans said that it was quite clear they had no plans for Goldberg. So they begin to talk about the January 4th episode of Nitro, explaining how Raw was taped, and they talk about how Nash challenged Goldberg to a rematch, but somehow Hogan got involved, right?
No K, CC, no K.
No K, CC. So they talk about how Hogan got involved. Eric Bischoff said they were creating an illusion that there was a conflict between Kevin Nash and Hogan, and they built it like it was going to be a match of the ages in the NWO to determine the fate of the organization. Yes.
Can I just say this was another storyline and match that they never tied up and that they were teasing for years. They were literally teasing Nash and Hogan for years.
Family. Hogan wasn't even supposed to be involved in that. That was last minute. Hogan was off TV for a little bit because remember he was like, "Oh, I'm going to run for president."
Yeah.
Hogan was not on TV, and Hogan randomly came and said, "We'll get there in a second." Right?
Honestly, wait, pause. That's another reason why Nash was so fucking over. Because Hogan wasn't there, and who was running the NWO?
Nash was over when Hogan was there.
Just saying. I'm even when he was. I'm talking about before this. In like in the '97 and shit like
Creative
that. When this motherfucker was out in Hollywood and shit doing his thing in Hollywood. What was it?
He Nash was not doing his thing in Hollywood. He was doing things.
Doing his thing. He was doing things.
Trying to beat Hollywood.
He was absent, but who was holding it down? It was Kevin Nash, and that's why he was over by this point.
So they quickly explained what happened with the finger poke of doom, saying it was contrived by the NWO to keep the belt in the NWO. Conan said when that happened, it was a lot of wrestlers saying, "What the fuck is this?" Yes, because Conan was in the Wolfpack, PAC.
Mm-hmm.
And this immediately ended Conan's tenure in the NWO.
Which is why he talks about it like he talks about it. And I don't blame him.
I don't blame him at all.
Because this was actually when the NWO stopped being cool.
Immediately. Done. Eric Bischoff said that when WCW, the fans say when WCW started going downhill, but it's dirt sheet material. No, Eric Bischoff, it's when fans stop caring.
That's real life, bro, because that shit kicked off the single worst year of WCW.
Kevin Nash
by your own admission, sir, too, because they ended up firing your ass. More on that later. Go ahead.
Kevin Nash said people hate it so much because it got them. He says, "Look at the crowd. They don't know what they've seen." Kevin Nash stopped. Conan said, "People expected to see something and they feel like they got fucked." Eric Bischoff said the most truthful thing he said. He said, WCW had chronic bad finish disease. And that sometimes a good clean finish was the best thing. Then they start to tell the story about how Mick Foley
never had one, and they never had one. They never had one. What do you mean sometimes? Y'all never had one.
For a good 3 years. They start telling the story about how Mick won a belt and they gave away the finishes. He said those two moves, the finger poke of doom and crapping all over the Rock and Mick, neither of them worked very well. Conan said there was a lot of mistakes. No, not Conan. Kevin Nash said there were a lot of mistakes, but his check didn't change. His check didn't.
See? Wait a minute, his check didn't change, so maybe he wasn't getting more money from that other thing, or maybe he did,
Or
but that's it. But he's just
it
saying,
doesn't matter if they made mistakes or not. His check don't change. They who's paid.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Conan said Conan adds the infighting and the jealousy and who's Eric gonna listen to started to disintegrate something cool and hot. We were our own worst enemies. It was bad enough that the Turner execs didn't want us. We didn't add ourselves no favors. So I want to add that, right? They always talk about how they ruined it and all the fans turned the channel. Realistically, it was a fucking horrible episode of Nitro. It was a really bad Nitro, and the fans turned the channel because I'd rather watch something you just told me than to continue watching what I'm watching right now. They advertised it as a rematch between Goldberg and Kevin Nash. Goldberg got arrested earlier in the episode because Miss Elizabeth said he was stalking her.
This
They
whole
kept
episode shit show. Go back and watch it on the Peacock.
no, I'm gonna summarize it.
Summarize it, but go back and watch it.
They kept showing clips of Goldberg in the police station, and then that's when Hogan came out of nowhere and said, "Kevin Nash, I'm gonna beat you for the title, and I'm gonna be the big bad Hogan Wolfpack," or whatever the fuck he said, right? They kept showing Miss Elizabeth said he's stalking me, he's everywhere I'm at, he's at the gym, he's at my job, and all of this nonsense. They did a horrible episode,
Even
and they
today.
and they rather watch anything other than what the fuck WCW was giving them. And they like to say that, oh man, I said this story and then everybody changed the channel. Everybody changed the channel because that episode of Nitro was horrendous. Realistically, the finger poker doom was the best thing that happened in that Nitro. No, I'm sorry. Ric Flair came out and cut a big promo talking
Yes, he
about he's
did.
the president of WCW.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Honestly, if you not honestly go back and going back and watch that episode. To be honest with you, it wasn't a bad
It
episode
was a bad episode, Stan.
to
If
me.
you came there for that episode, which they sold it as a rematch between Nash and
God
Goldberg,
damn it, let me talk. Wasn't a bad episode. It turned into a freaking shit show at the end. They didn't, it was, the way it ended. But the way that everything was hyped up, the way that Nash came out about to defend the like that shit was hyped up. It looked like it was about to, it looked like it was about to go down. When they did that, all they had to do was have that match. All they had to do was have that match, and get back to the fucking Goldberg later. But all you gotta do is have that match, and we probably have something else to talk about with that.
so Goldberg going to jail was okay.
Listen, it was fun. No
Us
problem.
following the Goldberg in police custody was okay.
That part wasn't.
And then there were only two things to really call home to about that episode that was okay: Nash entrance and Ric Flair's promo.
I remember
Everything else,
it being cool. I remember enjoying it when I watched it. Except, and then that happened, and it was like, oh, okay, this is where it falls off. Remember, people like
the
different
show
things.
was dead before the finger poker doom.
I'm just saying, some of us like WCW 2000, and then some of us don't. Different people like different things.
Don't try to take a shot.
Uh,
Anyhow, they start to show the footage of a conference on C-SPAN. Brad Siegel was asked, "Does it bother you a little that wrestling is so popular? I didn't know that was the promise of cable." Brad Siegel replies, "4 years ago, I went to a professional wrestling show, and as you were going on the highway, they were basically seeing people in pickup trucks. 1 month ago, I went to a WCW Monday Nitro event, and there was 40,000 people sold out in 1 hour, and all I'm seeing is families. So we're not embarrassed by it at all." And he's talking about the episode where Goldberg won. And that's when Brad Siegel became very high on WCW. Like, this is what you guys are doing? Brad Siegel said, when you're a single organization and you do one thing, which is professional wrestling, it's very different than when you're a company like Time Warner and you got a lot of businesses that you have to get sorted out. Stu Snyder said, you're going to get people who kind of look at this thing and go, is this classy enough for our networks? And how is this going to rub off on our brand? Dick Cheatham, our hero, added, wrestling may be a good product for some, but we are all, he said, we are after the world, we are after all the world's leader in news and entertainment. He said, that was the rationale. He said, we just don't like wrestling. Eric Bischoff said that WCW became successful and it was very frustrating for some. WCW occupied a primetime beachfront property on TNT, and a lot of people wanted that primetime real estate and were frustrated that WCW had success because of it. Brad Siegel said, there were so many demands from so many different places and a lot of answering to shareholders that have expectations, and WCW got caught up in all of that. Eric Bischoff said, the revenue challenges were simple. One of the goals of Turner Broadcasting was to enhance the bottom line of various divisions that they wanted to hold on. Let's take some of the debt from here and move it over there. Eric Bishop said they I can't pronounce this right now. Reallocated the guts out of his budget, and so that money could be moved to other divisions and make their bottom line look so much better. Dick Cheatham said, we recognize all those earnings at TBS. Eric Bishop said, because they do business with WCW, we're going to move some of those losses over to WCW's books. So WCW looks a little worse. WCW charged this is when Brad Siegel adds. We could have made it profitable if WCW charged a buttload of money for carrying wrestling to TNT and TBS. But because we wanted to make TNT and TBS's look much more profitable, not popular, sorry. The licensing fee we paid was very low. And he coughed and he was looking away and he said in a lower tone that was not his decision. So pretty much, I'm going to use Stu Snyder because he was the Turner home video executive. So if they put out WCW on tape and that sold a bunch of money, the profit went to Turner Home Video. And whatever money they didn't sell, that negative went to WCW. They added losses that wasn't from WCW's company itself to their bottom line and counted money that WCW made to make TNT and TBS profitable, while WCW is buttloaded with all this loss. You have anything to add?
No, it's fucked up. And Dick wasn't trying to cheat him. Dick was trying to save him.
So Eric Bischoff adds, they didn't
But
care
why
if they had
can't
to
I help?
sacrifice. So go ahead.
He said, "Well, why can't I help him?"
Eric Bischoff said they didn't care if they had to sacrifice WCW because that's what they wanted to do all along. He said they were people deconstructing WCW from a budgetary perspective right under everybody's noses. Dick Cheatham said, the reason we came so successful in retrospect looked like a bunch of bad deals. No cut contracts, creative controls, all of those things necessary to swing the tide over. DDP adds that everybody was making 7 figures. Conan says that guys were finding out how much other guys drew and asking why they wasn't getting as much. Jeannie Eagle said that they just drew their money and went home. I don't think she knew what drew their money was, because if you draw money, it's semantics. But Medusa added nothing and said, oh, you've been collecting money? You work here? You've been collecting for money? You've been collecting money sitting on your ass? Pretty much things that she did since she was brought in till 2000. You know? Eric Bishop makes a quick about people inferring that he had access to Ted Turner's money and all he had to do was write a check like he was some sort of ATM. But unfortunately, that's how it looks. Right?
Terrible.
So he says one day that he was called into Harvey Schiller's office, and Harvey tells him that he's been under forensic investigation for misuse of funds, and that somebody had met with Time Warner executives and laid out a crazy story saying he was handing out $1 million of contracts left and right because he was getting a kickback. Right?
Yikes.
Yeah, he said that the investigation proved to not be true and that Harvey was coming clean, and that pissed him off. He said he should have quit, but he stopped being loyal to the company. So the thing about that is, at that time, Turner owned the Braves. These are baseball contracts. Baseball contracts are multi-million contracts. Are they saying that, so-and-so's getting a kickback because they're handing out multi-million-dollar contracts to baseball players?
I mean, that would be the implication. That would be that would be what they were implying.
They wasn't implying it for the Braves. They were only implying it for WCW.
Yeah. There was just
Like, it makes sense
for
that
him.
baseball players cost multi-million, but wrestlers, why do they cost this much?
But even with that, baseball, they were getting way more money than the freaking wrestlers ever would dream. But it's still
their lowest contract is still not even what the highest paid wrestler got
ever. That's a different tax bracket.
Ever.
But nah, like it just shows you, like, it doesn't matter, how much you don't like, the Vince Russo booking, or how much you don't like Eric Bischoff or Hulk Hogan. You had motherfuckers doing shit like this.
Yes. And that's what they're gonna get into tonight. So I'm not screaming about that because I'm gonna scream about it next week. I'm gonna be so loud next week. Ooh. Anyhow.
Let me stop.
Shut up, you can't come here. Bret Hart says that when he thinks back about his career, there will always be a little bitterness about this time period. He said so many things was left unfinished in his career, and that so many things he wanted to do. And to watch what WC. Good night, CC. Thank you for joining us. He said what WCW did to him, it was like they was killing him off on purpose, and they did. Now, before I jump into this, they're telling this out of context.
They tell everything out of context.
But, this I noticed, because this happened at the end of 99. And then after this, we talk about Eric Bischoff getting fired. And Eric Bischoff was gone when this happened.
This whole shit is out. Every time they talk about WCW is out of context. That's why we exist.
But this is glowing. This is glowing like, wait a fucking minute. You know what I mean? So, he said, how do you fight Bill Goldberg? He's like a gorilla, slamming guys through the mat and running them over like a car. He said he pulled him aside and said, I want to teach you how not to hurt guys.
I wonder how the rest of that conversation went.
Right? He said, before they walked out to the ring, he looked Goldberg in his eyes and said, don't hurt me. I need you to trust me. And it went all in one ear and out the other. He said he felt Goldberg saw him as another job guy and that he was some type of cannon fodder. He says that if you watch the match, Bill Goldberg says, watch the kick. Bret said he didn't understand what he was doing. Goldberg kicked him as hard as he could. And this is when I wish that I knew how to get the fucking clips. Bret does this, right, Stan?
Mm-hmm.
Bret does this. Goldberg kicks here. Bret's hair. Goldberg's hair. Right? Hair. 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 Right? I'm doing this multiple times. They showed it different angles. Mm-hmm. Bret protects himself. Goldberg says,
as best he can, because you got to remember, he calls
even if Goldberg kicks his hand hard as hell, There was no
No,
stopping.
you gotta remember. You gotta remember. He calls this. He said it to him. Brett says he didn't clearly hear all what was going on, so he's in the moment of it. He's being shot off the rope. He's coming back. He just sees the moment. He tries to get up in time, but he doesn't, and he gets kicked in the freaking head.
So
And
I
here's
know
the
I
thing
did that to
about
me
that.
now.
And now here's the thing about that. Here's the thing about that. Like, you're not supposed to fucking just throw the kick like that.
I'm coming. I'm coming with this because
Yeah.
I'm giving you your moment to fucking shine,
Whatever.
right? So Goldberg kicked him as hard as he could. Goldberg said very smugly, "You should protect yourself. You knew the kick was coming. It's in the deal, right?" Bret Hart said it was never talked about or explained that I do this move where I kick you as hard as I could in the head. Goldberg said, "Nobody deserves that, but it's a freaking accident, a complete accident." Bret says, "No, Bill, that's not an accident. It's a career-ending injury, and it reminds me how much I annoy you. And when you were concussed, you said, 'No, Shanties, I'm hurt.'"
Because, like, I think people, like, really don't. People really don't get it. Like, you put your life on the line every second, everything you
Every
do,
single match.
everything you do in there. Like, you know, you just want to come. Everybody just wants to come out there walking, and the same way they came back in. Like Nash fucking said, you just
Let me
want to come
roll
out the
through
same
this
way you
real
came
quick,
back
and
in.
I'm letting you shoot because that's it. This is you. So he said, "No, Bill, this is a career-ending injury." Bret Hart said he willed himself to stand over, only to be ran over by this imbecile. He said it was the saddest day of his life. He knew his career was over. I'ma shut up because I know Bret Hart wrestled after this that same year. Well, the following year because it was at the end of the year. But Bret wrestled after this. He had a couple matches after this before he fully retired. Goldberg smugly said that Bret never aspired to be anything else but that guy, and I ended that for him. And never been so I never been more remorseful. I have been for years, but fuck, man, I can't do anything else, right? And I wanted to pinpoint this because remember when Goldberg said he never aspired to be anything but a professional football player, right? So mind you, if some guy who didn't really know how to play football, but he had a lot of buzz, came and took out your fucking knee, Goldberg. Imagine if that's why you had to retire instead of you injuring yourself on the fucking field, right?
He can't even relate to that because he wasn't in football what Bret Hart was in wrestling. You didn't
No.
you didn't accomplish anything the what this man did. So like you don't even know what it's like to lose
But
what you
even
cost
if
him.
he understands, he should understand his career ending by the hands of somebody else and not by you saying
Yeah.
this is it. On top of the fact that we don't know, I don't have it in front of me what Bret Hart's last contract was, but if it was still under the 2.8 million per year, you took that out of that man's pockets. Bret said he lost about 16 million or something because Goldberg's injury, right? Bret Hart says Goldberg was never qualified, but he's our star, so they just look the other way. Bret Hart said, when you go through that type of brain injury that I went through, you're just so grateful to be alive. It was such a lousy ending for a great career. He said it just shows WCW never appreciate or understood the talent that they had. They dropped the ball with him. He knows it. Eric knows it, and the fans know it. And only Eric can answer. Only Eric Bishop can only answer for himself.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Um, I don't know I don't know, man. That's a lot.
It's
That's
a
a lot.
lot. Um, they fumbled him in the way of when he left WWE, he was at the top, and they had Brett surfing along the middle until Vince Russo got there and said, "You're our champion." They could have had Brett being one of the good WCW guys and not be a part of the NWO or affiliated, but they had to cut the legs off of what Brett could have been so Hogan wouldn't feel away.
it just shows a lot. It's just total lack of respect and lack of accountability, lack of awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you know what? I think it's all a deflection because
Yes. All of
he,
this is a deflection.
I think he just really, um, because here's the thing: if you really think that you're that guy like that, all this, what Brett is saying, is just highlighting the fact that you never learned your craft.
Yes. And
And
you never cared enough to learn your craft.
and you are now having to sit here
I'm gonna
and
jump out real quick. Go ahead.
you have to sit here now and listen to this man pretty much hold you accountable. Like Bret Hart's life was drastically changed over something that you did to this man, and you feel so bad in your mind because you know it's true. You never learned. He never learned how to really do this shit the right way. And when and a lot of it is look where he came up. Look where he was in the shark infested water. He was in all these snakes in the grass. He didn't know who to trust. So even if a Bret Hart, we said this earlier, even if a Bret Hart comes to him, a Conan comes to him, somebody, hey yo, let's try to work something out so you're not hurting people. Da da da. He's already thinking everybody's an enemy. He don't know who to trust. So it's I don't want to say it's almost like a toxic individual put in a toxic situation. You know what I'm saying? You put a hat on a hat on a hat. And just to hear how he talks about, Brett, it is almost like he wants him to get over it. Like, dude, no, and you cost this man millions of dollars. And for somebody that like is so, sensitive about their image and all that stuff, think about it. Like she said, somebody cost you millions of dollars. Somebody took you as hurt and as injury prone as your ass is. You know what I'm saying? Brett was the guy that he was known as literally the Iron Man. This guy wasn't getting hurt, and
The excellence of execution.
excellent execution. He had a zero record as far as hurting people. So that's why he's extra even sensitive. And that's when he went hard on Seth Rollins for hurting Sting, because this guy in particular is extra sensitive.
Never hurt nobody.
This is what I'm saying. Like, so for you to be that is to him is that much more egregious. And the fact that you say shit like, hey, you got to put his hands up, you got to put his hand up, you got to defend yourself, you got to protect yourself. No, you have to protect your opponent. This isn't a shoot fight where you just you guys are fighting on like somebody's trying to defend themselves. No, when this is professional wrestling, we're literally giving our bodies to each other. Pause. Like our bodies are my body's in the is in your my life is in your hands. For as long as this move is going on, my life is literally in your hands. In the same way with me, while I'm doing a move to you, your life is literally in my hands. One false move, you never walk again. One false move, I never walk again. And it's that much of a hair's difference. So to have this attitude of, he just almost doesn't care. He wished Brett would get over it.
Very flippant.
Very extremely flippant. It's a reflection off of the fact that you're insecure of the fact that you never learned your craft. And you hurt somebody as a result of it. You want us to just overlook it and just no, you're the superhero. You're supposed you're that goes along with your gimmick. You're supposed to beat and smash people.
I've been so remorseful. It's not enough sometimes.
It's not about you being remorseful, bro. Like you don't even get it. To this day, you don't even get it.
You're still hurting yourself and others. Hold on. Yeah. Hi, Sean.
Yeah. What up, Sean Jai?
We back. We got our originals.
Facts.
Do you have anything to add to that?
I just added a whole lot.
I know you did. But it's very damning of I just kicked the whole camera. It was very damning about how Goldberg was moving and talking, and it wasn't what he was saying because he was
And it's
saying
also his body language too. It was
his
also his
body
body
language and his
when he
tone.
said he said, I mean, he should have put his hand up, right? Like he
He didn't say he
scratched
should
the
have been.
back of his head.
You knew the
He
kick
looked
was
away
coming.
from the
You should have
camera.
protect
He
yourself.
couldn't even look
This
at the
is this not
camera in the
protecting yourself, Stan?
face. He couldn't even look at the camera when he said this. He should have put his hand up. He couldn't even look at the camera. He can't even look you in the face when he says this shit because
I was doing
he
this.
knows. He knows.
Okay, so let's jump off of Goldberg because he's a bitch. Eric Bischoff said by the summer of '99 he was toast. He was frustrated, angry, demoralized, lost all hope. He said once you lose that, it's pretty much over. Ooh, I thought it was home free. They said no, you're still dying. He said once you lose that, it's pretty much over. He said he was pretty disrespectful intentionally because he always thought that he had Ted's support in his back pocket. Guy Evan talks about how they talk about the Time Warner Turner merger in '97 and how Ted was not receptive as first. I don't know why he went into '96 from here. Teddy Turner comes back and says that it was a big, huge company, more money for dad. They needed him, he needed them, but he deluded himself, losing more and more control as it goes to the bureaucrats and more control goes to the executive types. Dick Cheatham said he couldn't protect Eric anymore. He couldn't protect anybody at that point. Eric Bischoff said that was the opportunity that many people in Turner Broadcasting wanted because he was finally out of animation. Right? He said that he never realized how much freedom he had years before and how much of a unique opportunity it was. The freedom is what led WCW to being successful. He said he spent so much time battling internally that it took the fun out of it for him. And if he had to reflect on the summer of '99, it was one of the worst points of his life across the board. He said September 10th, 1999, he gets a phone call from Harvey Schiller saying that he needs to come into his office. When he gets there, he says, Eric, you need to go home. Eric responded with, I'll get home in a little while, but I have a pay-per-view this Sunday. And that's when Harvey Schiller said, not anymore. He said that's when it dawned on him. He said it was a combination of confusion but relief. Kevin Sullivan said he was shocked. He said how many years had Vince had and Eric beat him for 83 weeks. That was pretty impressive. Dick Cheatham said what Eric did was impossible, in spite the fact that everybody was against him, and he don't know how he didn't blow his brains out. He said it was the most terrible circumstances for anybody to work in. Eric Bischoff said he pulled into his driveway. His wife asked him, what is he doing home? He said, I got fired. His wife said he looked a bit rattled. She asked him, what are you going to do next? Eric Bischoff got in his plane and flew himself to Cody, Wyoming. This is when Eric Bischoff comes and says, the next day he was fishing. The fishing was awesome that day, by the way. And then he shows everybody where he went fishing because he moved to Cody, Wyoming. He said it was awesome that day. And this is pretty much where we get like pretty much a eulogy of Eric Bischoff. Well, not a eulogy, but like you know what I mean, right? Like everybody paying their respects to Eric's time. So a eulogy to his time in WCW. Conan said he gives Eric Bischoff his props because at the end of the day,
They gave
it
him his
was
flowers.
they gave him his flowers. It was his idea for the NWO. He did push the Luchadors and he did push Goldberg. Nash said Eric put the pieces to the puzzle together and mockingly said people saying, oh, it wasn't his money and blah, 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 blah. But he knew what he was doing. Kevin Sullivan said the moves he made by getting Hogan, Savage, Nash, and the remake of Sting, he said he did so many good things. Brad Siegel said he didn't get involved in Eric's world. He didn't know the intricacies of the soap opera. Eric knew that though he said Eric knew that in those years that they were crushing it, Eric delivered exactly what Brad Siegel asked him to deliver. And Neil Pruitt said, no matter what you think about Eric down the road, he was one of those people that worked his butt off. And he said he worked hard, stayed at it, and was great to work with. And then this is when they leave us with the preview for tonight's episode. And it's about my guy. But we're not getting there. Anything you have to add with all of that, baby?
Nope.
That was the end of tonight's that last week's episode. Pretty much, everybody clapping for what Eric Bischoff did with his time at the head of WCW.
Facts. And on that note, we will see you next week.
Cause I'm coming next week. Tonight's episode, hopefully. Tonight's episode is about Vince Russo. And they're calling it the New Blood. And before we go, I want to add, Vince Russo said in the whole saga with Ric Flair that concluded, I'm not reading those tweets, but he said that they give him too much power. And the fact that Vince Russo was there from October.
Jay Santalena! He's late.
Always.
He's late. But we love you, though.
That Vince Russo was there from October, November, December, January when he left.
The
April
TOC
came back,
Intercontinental
May,
Champion in the
June,
building.
July, August, September, all of 8 months. I don't have both hands to put up 8 again. All of 8 to 9 months. A man that was in charge of creative for 8 to 9 months is getting a whole episode in a company that was alive for 10 to 11 years. Right?
It's a hell of an impression.
Y'all give Vince Russo too much power.
Fuck it, he's that guy. Fuck it. Own it.
So again, thank you for everyone that's joined us. Please leave comments. Let us know how you feel. Hopefully we get a lot of reactions and we can read them next week to begin the episode while we're scrambling to do things. Because I promise you I will.
As a weird.
It's me. It's me.
Oh gosh, guys, follow us on the socials. Talk of Champions, Talk of Champs on Twitter, X.
I wish that we put your flyer for your match this weekend up in the thing.
Well, follow me at Stan Michael R&B right here, and you see everything where I'm doing.
Everything.
Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all that shit. Stan Michael R&B.
Thank you guys for joining us.
All there. Thank you very much.
Catch me on Twitter. I'm live tweeting tonight's episode because it's Vince Russo. Why wouldn't I?
Yep. All right, and
thank you.
And I'm not. Good later.